welcome back to my channel, and today I wanted to talk about the pros and cons of being a freelance fashion stylist, and this can apply to freelancing in general. Now, the first pro of being a freelancer is you can select what kind of jobs or what kind of clients that you choose to take on. If you're working for a company, that often will be decided for you whether you want to do it or not, whereas when you're a freelancer you kind of have the freedom to be able to choose. And the second pro is you're less likely to get bored. I mean, whenever I've had a freelance job, it is very rare that I'm bored. One minute I can be doing product styling, the next minute I could be working on a TV show, the next minute I could just be doing a photo shoot. Whatever it is, I always find that I don't get bored, and I'm always constantly learning, especially when I'm on the set of a television show, because I have to collaborate with so many different people. It's not just about my job, but I learn what the makeup artist does, I learn what the mic person does, I learn what the sound engineer does, I learn about what the cameraman is doing. If you're working in TV, it's very important to think about all of these elements, because ultimately the outfit you choose has to be suitable for what that set is going to be. You have to consider the background colours of the set, you have to consider if they're going to be sitting with other people, how does this outfit complement what the other person is wearing, is the print that you're going to choose for this outfit going to make the camera strobe, is it suitable for the lighting, what has the styling been like in previous seasons. All of these different things I always consider whenever I'm doing television styling, so it's very rare that I get bored when I'm doing a styling job, because my environment is constantly changing and working with different people. The third thing I would say is the flexibility. You can kind of choose your working schedule depending on what kind of styling jobs you're doing or what kind of productions you're working on. And the fourth pro I would say about being a freelancer is you are less likely to get caught up in gossip. This is just from my experience personally. When you're in a job, if you are there for a long period of time, if the work environment can be quite toxic or not very good towards you, you can often get caught up in that cycle of office politics. Whereas if you are freelancing, if you're only in that environment for a short period of time, it doesn't necessarily affect you as much because you are not there, so you don't really have time to get engaged with all of that nonsense. I think what is good about being a freelancer is that you are not restricted to any one thing, and often society can make you feel like you're only supposed to do this one thing, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not supposed to do anything else. And I really hate that, because we are multifaceted people, and I think one of the things I really enjoy about what I do is I have a wide skill set. It allows me to be using all of the skills that I have. So for example, on one of the shows that I work on, one of my clients likes his trousers to be taken up. So I get to use my sewing skills, I get to use my styling skills, I get to exercise my knowledge of haberdasheries as well as PR agencies. I think having a wide variety of skills can really aid you in whatever fashion styling that you choose to do. So it's good to be aware of the different kinds of styling. Obviously, if you want to focus on one particular type of styling, that's absolutely fine, but I found that I'm one of those people that can adapt quite well to different environments, which is necessary for a freelancer. Now onto the cons of being a freelancer. I can find sometimes that freelancing can actually be quite isolating and a bit lonely, and I don't know if people actually talk about this. I think when you do have, like, you know, your normal 9 to 5, you are constantly working with a team of people, and you do kind of build those relationships with people that you can nurture and kind of build a rapport with every single day. With freelancing, if you are working on different productions, a lot of the work that I actually need to do in order for me to get prepared for my styling jobs, I have to do on my own, and it doesn't actually require, unless I choose to bring an assistant in, any other people to be there. So I end up doing a lot of work on my own at home, and it can get a bit isolating and a bit lonely. So to prevent that from happening, I do go and work at a library sometimes, or I do go and work in a cafe, and I do also have a part-time retail job that I do once or twice a week, and that's great for the income, but also it helps me just kind of keep interacting with people so that I don't kind of curl up into my shell, because by nature I am a reserved person. Now the second con I find is there can be a lack of structure to your day. If you don't put a structure in for your day to say, this is what I'm going to be achieving for this day at this time, it's very easy to kind of fall into that trap of, oh, I'm not doing anything today, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do things at my leisure, which can be a pro for many people. But if you are not careful, the lack of structure can kind of make you a little bit lazy. So I think it's extremely important to write to-do lists, write what you are going to do at a particular time of each day, so you're not lounging around and you are being as productive as you can with your time. Now, another con is admin work. At the end of every freelance job, especially if you are the head of the styling job, or even if you're a fashion assistant, you will have to keep track of all of your receipts, especially if you are managing a budget. You will be responsible for making sure you keep all your travel expenses receipts so you can claim it back later. You'll be responsible for keeping all the receipts for proof of purchases of whatever items you bought for the client. You need to be responsible for all of these things and keeping track of how much you spend, not only for yourself, but so you can give it to the production team so that they can pass it on to their finance team so that they can clear it with accounts. If you don't like doing paperwork and you want to get into styling, you need to get used to doing paperwork, because admin is a huge part of the job. So to make sure that I don't get absolutely snowed under with admin work, I make sure that I have an Excel spreadsheet. I have one for all of my receipts. I have one for all of my PR contacts for different things. I have a PR list of agencies. I have a PR list for jewelry, a PR list for shoes. So that way, if I ever need to pull up everything, it's there in the Excel spreadsheet and I don't need to spend absolutely ages hunting for it. So my advice would be to get your admin in order, even down to things like liability insurance. If you are a freelance fashion stylist, it is extremely important that you have liability insurance, because if you borrow something from a PR agency or from a designer or an emerging designer and things go missing or they get damaged, you are responsible for those. Now, another con with being a freelancer is you will have massive spurts of being really, really busy. Like, for example, from September till February for me was really, really busy, and now things have quietened down. That is typical for the freelance world, unless you're really, really high in demand where you're constantly busy. Sometimes you will have periods of time where you're extremely busy, and then other times when you're quiet. So it's all about kind of making sure that you can make whatever money you've been paid last you for a certain amount of time. And that can be quite nerve-wracking, but if you put a budget in place to say, I'm only going to spend this amount every month, then you should be okay. And it's always advisable to have savings as well, because you might be booked on a job one day and the job might have to be postponed, or it might fall through due to different circumstances. But it's always good to have a pot of money just saved to the side for a rainy day or whenever things get a little bit quiet. Another con I would say is, when I said it was a pro that you don't get involved in office politics, so you can just kind of go in and do your job and leave, that is good. But then on the flip side of that, it can lead to that feeling of constantly feeling like you're in the job interview process, or you're constantly feeling like the new girl. So it almost feels as though you can never really build up rapport with people unless you're on a production for a long period of time. I've been lucky in the sense where I've had one production where I was on for 3 months, so I have a really, really good working relationship with the clients from that show. But for example, even though I'm working with one of the clients on a different show, I was only in that production for 1 day, and that was just to like kind of style her for 1 day and meet the camera crew. So I never got the chance to build up that rapport with anybody else in the production team. When you're a freelancer, you constantly have to have your hustler head on. You are constantly looking for the next thing, or trying to work out what days you can fill up. So sometimes it can get a bit draining and it can get a bit exhausting. So what I like to do is I like to do it from a set time in the morning to a set time in the afternoon, and then that's it, because otherwise it can get very fatiguing just constantly being on the go. Another con is sometimes you may not get paid in the period of time you was expecting to get paid in. So with a retail job or a 9 to 5, you will get paid at a set time on the same day or the same date every single month. With freelance, it's a little bit different, because some companies will pay you within 30 days and other companies will pay you within 90 days. So for example, I did a styling job in June. I think this was just an e-commerce job for a shopping center. So I did that job in June, and I didn't get paid from that job until the beginning of October, I believe. That 3-month period, even though I knew I was going to get paid, and it was a very well paid job, however, for me to survive during that time without that money was a bit difficult. So I do have a part-time retail job. Most freelancers do have something else part-time, because if your production ends or if you're waiting on some money to come through, you need another income to be coming in to be able to support yourself. So it's very common for a freelancer to have multiple streams of income. I have about 3 at the moment. I know that if anything's going on with my freelance work, if I'm not going to get paid on time, if there's been a discrepancy with my payment, I know that at a particular time every month that at least I have all of my basics covered with what's coming in from my part-time retail job. And I also wanted to say, if you're a freelancer, don't feel embarrassed for having other things on the go, like a part-time retail job or a bar job or a waitressing job. Let's get serious about life, okay? Life can be difficult sometimes. Let's not be immature about how we need to navigate our way through things. Sometimes you have work, sometimes you don't. So it is necessary to have something on the side, and eventually you'll have enough work to be able to support yourself. And it's the same with me. Eventually I'm hoping to have enough styling work constantly so I don't have to have the part-time retail job. But for now, it's fine. And it also keeps me up to date with what women are buying, what shapes they're gravitating towards, and it keeps my skill of styling different body shapes intact, which actually does help me in my styling jobs. And having a bar job or a waitressing job or a retail job is not beneath you. Money is money at the end of the day. You don't know how many transferable skills you can use from those things to bring over into your styling jobs. Another pro is, even though that, you know, your structure might not be the same as everybody else's, or your work might go up and down, your emotions might go up and down, you will get to do some amazing things, and you will have access to some amazing opportunities that not everybody gets to do. I've been fortunate enough to work backstage on shows like The Voice, on X Factor. I do not believe that I would have had the access to opportunities and got to meet some of the people I've got to meet, or make the contacts that I have, if I had stayed stagnant or played it safe. Before you do go into the freelance world, I just think it's extremely important that you are aware of all of the pros and cons, and then you can make that decision for yourself. It's definitely not something to do for the faint-hearted, but I would say be aware of all of the risks before you decide to go and embark on a freelance career. So guys, we have come to the end of my video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and next week I will be back with another video, so stay tuned, and thank you for watching. Bye!